Hey guys, hope you're all having a great day and welcome to another video. Now I know the title of this video might come across as strange, it is a pretty crazy theory after all. I have been hesitant about making this video for a long time and I have a very good reason to name it this way. You can make your own minds up after you've seen all the evidence. I believe it was around the middle of last year when I first started piecing together this theory. I was just going through Cory Barlog's interviews while doing some chores. Don't get too jealous by the exciting life I live. But joking aside, I tried to see if there was anything he might have said that managed to go unnoticed, which it did. Twice in fact. So just before I show you my evidence, I'll first explain my theory. My theory is that Tyr is actually not from Scandinavia as we call it, but from another land which I will go into more detail later. But not only that, I now think Tyr is as old, if not older than Odin, and here is why. Take a look.
Helmet, the Egyptian helmet that Atreus is trying on in the treasure room, like all of it is like little subtle indicators. It helps build the mythology of Tyr being this sort of beloved god that began a lot of the Norse myth before the Aesir gods came in and kind of kicked them out. But he was connected to a lot of other things. There's things in the myth that show there was connections.
So in this first clip, you can clearly see Cory state that Tyr was instrumental in building a lot of the mythology within Norse until he was kicked out by the Aesir. Notice how Cory specifically said the Aesir, implying that Tyr isn't one. And just to confirm this wasn't a one-off statement by Cory, here is the second clip.
Build a larger universe outside of just Greek and Norse.
There is a connection to that. Its first goal was to show how Tyr connected to all of these other mythologies. Tyr was kind of the first god of war within the Norse realm. Kind of got screwed over by the gods, right? And sort of pushed aside, and Odin kind of took over in that respect. And we portrayed him as this interesting kind of like the more beloved god, the god who actually connected to other mythologies, other cultures, and was trying to unify and bring them together, but the kind of rabble-rousers of the Aesirs sort of ruined that.
So Tyr very well could have known Ymir. Maybe Tyr was chosen to become the first Allfather, and that's why Odin finally made his move to kill Ymir. But that's just me spitballing some ideas. But back to the theory. So taking some time to think about what was said in the game, I now believe it adds up and makes perfect sense. Do you guys remember what Freya said toward the beginning of the game? If not, then here is a reminder.
I know you're a god. Not of this realm, but there's no mistaking it. He doesn't know, does he? About your true nature? Or his own?
That is none of your concern.
The gods of these realms don't take kindly to outsiders, trust me. I know.
This could also explain Odin's behaviour toward Tyr. Further proof comes from Mimir. Take a look.
How did Tyr do this?
Odin suspected the giants secretly possessed some remnant of primordial Jotnar creative essence, the stuff all realms were made of. The Unity Stone must have been fashioned from that essence. To trust an outsider with it, even Tyr, tells you just how desperate they were.
So if I have interpreted what was said correctly, this means that Tyr is not Aesir and he is not a giant, at least from these lands. And to add to that, you guys may think differently, but don't you find it odd that the giants would gift one of their own kind these eyes, when not even Faye had these eyes, and she was the giant's guardian? And Gaboda also doesn't have these eyes, which I find very interesting. But bringing it back to Tyr, Tyr has been this pivotal figure throughout the world of God of War, going to various pantheons, meeting all kinds of gods, showing the mortals of these lands that gods can be good, gathering knowledge, which is why they would travel from far and wide to offer tribute to him. Tyr's name is also connected across various places across the globe, and has no doubt made an impression on these places. But where is Tyr from exactly? Well, I have two ideas. The shortest and easiest to explain would be Germanic myth. Like, if you look into it, Norse and Germanic myth more or less share the same gods, just with some slight name changes. Like Odin was named Woden or Wotan. The language barrier probably not so bad either. And Germany, if you look at a map, is pretty much between Norse and Roman gods. And Greek gods aren't that much further, so geographically it fits very well. But my second is more crazier than the last, and I will try to explain the best I can. Although it's more of a long shot, in parts it definitely fits well with Tyr as a character. The other place I think Tyr could be from is a place once called Scythia, which was a region of Central Eurasia, which encompasses parts of Eastern Europe and Central Asia, which I believe we now call Kazakhstan. But why would Tyr be from somewhere in or around this area? Well, interestingly enough, there is a story about Odin and how he came from Asia. He conquered Northern Europe, giving Sweden to his son Yngvi and Denmark to his son Skölder. But wait a minute, isn't there a character in God of War Ragnarok called Skölder? Now obviously I'm making a lot of assumptions. Sony Santa Monica can do whatever they please to any character's story, so I'm probably way off. But trying to keep close to the source material, the Odin we are learning about doesn't come across as someone who would travel to distant lands. Not yet anyway. Mostly due to the fact he has been obsessed with Ragnarok for the longest time and is finding a way to prevent his death. So if they were to incorporate elements of the story of Odin from Asia and Skölder, how would they do it? Well, in typical fashion, they just change the story. What if they made Tyr this man, this god from Asia? But instead of conquering, he was gathering knowledge, spreading the word that gods can be good. What if Skölder is Tyr's son instead? Things like this are very possible. Take Hoder for example. In myth, his mother is Frigg and his father is Odin. But within God of War, he existed before Freya and Odin got married, which means Freya cannot be Hoder's mother, which is another cool detail which I think went unnoticed. But back to the main point of my video, we have come to learn that moving from pantheon to pantheon is very much a thing now, which could explain Apollo's long absence. So Tyr has travelled to many lands, no doubt meeting all kinds of gods, and leaving an impression on these places, which is probably why Tyr's name is connected across the globe. The T rune Tiwaz was named after Tyr, and there just so happens to be a sun god called Tiwaz in Asia, and I believe there are connections to Mars, the Roman god, and so on, and I am sure there are probably more hints that link Tyr to these lands, but I could be here a while. I even think something as small as tattoos could even be a clue. When we look at Atreus, Balder, Magni, Modi, Thor, even Thamur, they all show noticeable tattoos relating to the land they are from, whereas at the moment Tyr has only 2 noticeable tattoos, one on his forehead and the obvious Egyptian looking one on his left arm. The one on his forehead I guess at least looks similar to Thor's, colour wise at least, but it's a very peculiar one. Mimir is also a very good reason why this theory is at least possible. He isn't from Scandinavia, but he at least bears a tattoo related to it. But to end the video with one last crazy theory which involves the idea that Tyr came from Scythia, I am starting to think that Cory may have incorporated part of David Jaffe's vision of the wise men. And by that I mean, I think Cory and his team could have made Tyr one of these wise men. We know of the song with the 3 kings, but I believe in actual Christianity there were said to be many of these wise men that travelled from the east. And if my geography is correct, then Tyr could have been one of these travellers. This isn't that far-fetched either, as we know Cory has confirmed that Christianity exists within God of War, and Captain Cuba found this depiction of the crucifixion of Christ. But hey, I am just providing evidence. You guys can make your own minds up. So on that note, let's end it here. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. Just a click of these would help the channel out a great deal. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care and I hope to see you in the next one.